Wake Up Call DT. And of course, you're listening on mixlr.com/Wake Up Call DT and on wakeupcalldt.com. So, however you are, wherever you are, however you're listening and watching today's broadcast, I welcome you in and I thank you for being here. As I said, inside of the Cafe Kubal studios, Cafe Kubal, your home for whatever you want to fill that cup with, from all of their coffees to their chais and their teas, as well as their sandwiches, my favorite being the Upstate, and their breakfast, their desserts. The chocolate chip banana bread is second to none, except for the chocolate on chocolate on chocolate on chocolate bread, which is also very good as well. Find your way to Cafe Kubal at any one of the 5 locations: 3501 James Street, 324 West Water Street, 208 North Townsend Street, 401 South Salina Street, all in Syracuse, and of course, their newest location at 343 Fayette Street in Manlius, New York. I'm going to get me some Cafe Kubal today and warm up the right way, because the weather's good, right? It's a little bit chilly, but it's still great walking weather. So it's great to get anything iced or hot over at Cafe Kubal. And so many of us here in this community love our coffee, love our teas, love our chais. So make sure that when you go out and get one, do something even more special than just going out and grabbing a cup of coffee. Do it locally and support local. And I promise you that that's something you won't regret as our community continues to build together every single day. So, with that being stated, we have a fantastic show set up for you today. I'm about to make history in a very special way here. Papa Joe is joining us in hour number 1 inside of MonPazPopcorn.com's What's Poppin', and then we'll jump into hour number 2, where my video Q&A with Ifeatu Melifonwu will be coming up for you. He is a 2021 NFL draft prospect, a high-end prospect coming out of Syracuse. He, with Andre Cisco and Trill Williams, put together a DB, a secondary unit of Syracuse, that not only did great things at Syracuse, but is in a position to do great things inside of this year's NFL draft. And this video Q&A with Ifeatu Melifonwu, I do not believe by any stretch of the imagination you will find anything this lengthy, this thorough, and this awesome anywhere else. So we will air that in hour number 2 as Ifeatu Melifonwu will join me from the great state of Florida, which is also where Papa Joe joins me from right now. And with that being said, let's bring in the man of the hour, PJ. How we doing, Papa Joe?
Good morning, Daniel. Just enjoying my family down here for a couple of weeks from Wisconsin. The Brewski is well aware of your show, so he'll be listening tonight as well as the rest of the family.
You know, and I'm very happy because you talk about this family from Wisconsin all the time, and I had the opportunity before we went on the air today, and I thank everybody for their patience, to be able to say hello and actually put a voice to, the family that you talk about so much. What does it mean to you to have your family from Wisconsin here with you in your home right now? What does it mean to you in general, and not only for that, but what does it mean to you in such a crazy year like this year to be able to see your family face-to-face finally?
Well, there was a good chance I wasn't going to see anyone, and there's still not a good chance that I'm going to go anywhere. We're planning for a trip later on in the summer where we can drive to Milwaukee and rent a room for a couple of weeks, because I can't stay in anyone's houses because I can't go up and downstairs. So, but we're trying to figure out what to do with that. But it's good to have my family, especially Bruce, because we talk as much as it is. So he'll be listening on and maybe throw in a comment here or there.
And for you, I mean, I know that we talked right before going on the air, and, a true Wisconsinite, a true Wisconsin fan through and through, from the Milwaukee Bucks to the Green Bay Packers to the Milwaukee Brewers and the Wisconsin Badgers and so on and so forth. What can you say about that? I mean, you and I talk about it. I know, obviously, Mary coming from Wisconsin and that being her family as well, growing up, that she's a huge Green Bay fan. But, what's it like having that in the household? What have the sports conversations been like so far?
Well, most of the sports conversations are between Bruce and I, whether we're texting or talking back and forth. But when I get up to Milwaukee, every time we have a party, we have all the guys get together, and the girls, they do their thing, and when guys just sit together, then we start shooting the crap, And there's a lot of funny stuff comes out, and it's good to have the guys close. I hope to make the trip this summer, Daniel. I'm not quite sure if I can do it or not.
Well, you have something, like I said, that's so special is, just having somebody come to the house that a familiar face, and then to be able to have these conversations about sports, which never die. And the thing that I find so awesome is when people have said to me before, what do you do in May, June, and July? Do you take it off? Are you on the air? And I don't have to answer that question anymore unless somebody has, never heard the show, but I was like, May, June, and July. I said, no, I work just as hard, and there's always something to talk about. I went a year without sports and was more busy than I've ever been. So, you and I both know, as this segment was born out of you and I sitting at a table, that those conversations are incredible. And I've had them with fans here in Syracuse. And one of the guys, I had it last week, when we do a thing called Bourbon Night. Shout out to Kevin Schultz for that. And we do a thing called Bourbon Night at Pizza Man on Tuesdays, and we had a conversation last week with John with Michael and Ryan, and when we were sitting and we were talking about everything, we had a really deep discussion about Syracuse football and Syracuse basketball, and it got very emotional. People really having their thoughts and everything like that, and really working things through. And I saw Michael again this Tuesday, and he said, I loved that. He said, that's what it's all about. Like, I love that. I love those discussions. Like, it's so real. And he said, the cool thing is, like, you told us all these things and maybe some nuggets and stuff we didn't know and stuff that was coming. And he goes, you told us what was going to happen. And then in this past week, I watched it unfold. And it was so cool to be on, like, that side of it and stuff. And to see that he appreciated the conversation, that meant the world to me, because that's what it's all about. You can agree and disagree in the sports world, but it's so cool to be at a table with people that have different thoughts, have different angles, have different feelings, yet the discussion just turns into something special. And it's a reminder to me of just how this segment of us really became something where I love so deeply our conversations about everything, about sports and life. And I said this to somebody recently. I said, Papa Joe and I wanted him to come on, and he was like, really? And I said, absolutely. And you came on to the show, and then I wanted you to come on again, and you're like, you want me on again? And I said, yeah, why not? And then we started talking football, and then we did football season, and then I wanted you on all year round, and at first it was like, let's see how it goes. But I was like, no, I feel like there's value in it. I think you should do it. And now it's a knee-jerk reaction. It's second nature to have you on. But I told people the reason why I asked you to be on the show was because I was so pushed by you to be a better broadcaster and a better person. You gave me credit I felt like I didn't deserve. You constantly made me think. I helped, I gained wisdom and knowledge. We laughed. We got deep into conversation. And I thought to myself, these conversations cannot be duplicated with anybody else, and I would feel selfish if I keep these at the table with him instead of sharing them with the world, because I think the greatest thing that I can do with what was given to me is share Papa Joe to the world and not just to myself. So thank you for, being such an incredible inspiration in my life, and that's how I really do feel. I don't feel like I can have Papa Joe. I feel like we all should.
Thank you for that, Daniel. Thank you for all your fans, too.
And so, with that being stated, as the fans always expect it, what is your Jameis Winston thought of the day?
Not bad, Jameis. Oh, my man. What the hell am I going to do with Jameis now? Well, there's some talk coming out of New Orleans that he's nip and tuck for the quarterback job. So, I don't think that Peyton is going to do that. I think Peyton is going to stay with Jameis. I think he's going to use Taysom Hill the way he's always used Taysom Hill. As long as Jameis doesn't throw 50,000 interceptions, I think they can be competitive. Taysom Hill on the field is far more dangerous than Taysom Hill off the field. So you got to remember that. They're going to work him in. Now, he can play several positions. And Jameis can, his big old lumbering behind. He can barely move. So, but Taysom has a lot of moves, and there's a lot of moves that he can make back there that gain yardage that other quarterbacks or other backs, shall we say. We don't even know what to call them anymore. H-back, tight end, running back, quarterback, whatever, He can get the yardage. It's fun to watch. I enjoy Taysom Hill.
Yeah, and Taysom Hill is real. I mean, do you think New Orleans is ready for this? I mean, this era of Taysom Hill and the reality that, the traditional quarterback down in New Orleans may be gone for now, or utilized in such a way where we see Jameis try to be traditional, but there's also that leaning on Taysom Hill. I mean, do you think we're ready for this? I mean, this is kind of an unheard of. Taysom Hill is not a dime a dozen in the NFL, and he's very rare. What surprises me very much about this is that Eric Dungy from Syracuse very much can play like a Taysom Hill, and nobody wanted to give him a real opportunity. It feels like that nobody really invested in him, and yet, here we are seeing Taysom Hill become a guy who we could see a lot of. So to me, it's like bittersweet, because I'm happy for him, but I'm sad for Eric Dungy. But do you think that this is something we can be ready for? A world where this non-traditional quarterback is the next chapter after a quarterback that will go down in history as one of my favorites.
No, I'm not sure we can say that, Daniel. I'm not sure. There's a lot of information out there we still got to digest. I like Taysom. There's also a comment coming out of New Orleans saying that Taysom Hill will never be the quarterback of New Orleans because he's too valuable doing something else. So what do? You take him, you put him at quarterback. What's he going to do? He's either going to run, pass. At least with him on a field in some offensive situation, whether it be tight end or split end or H-back or whatever, you have to top him on the field. And, you can't do that if he's a quarterback. So in my opinion, there really was never any quarterback controversy over there because Taysom Hill can't play quarterback for New Orleans because he's too valuable as a regular player.
In this NFL, now as we get set and we talk about the quarterback position, it's such an important thing to, roll the dice on, and yet teams do it every single year. They're rolling that dice on who they should take at quarterback. In most years, there's somebody out there for someone to go after. This year, it seems like it's turning into the top 4 picks could all be quarterbacks. The reality that Jacksonville will go with Trevor Lawrence out of Clemson, that the Jets, I believe and agree, will take Zach Wilson out of BYU. The San Francisco 49ers moved up from 12 to 3, and the notion is that they will go after a quarterback as well, potentially Mac Jones out of Alabama. And then the Atlanta Falcons, if they keep their pick, could take a try on North Dakota State quarterback Trey Lance, who hasn't had as much experience on the field in college as some of the other guys. So what are your thoughts on that? I mean, did you really envision that this year's draft was going to be 3 to 4 quarterbacks in the first 4 picks, or is this something that's developing and surprising you a little bit?
Well, there's always talk like that, but months ago we were talking about this being a true quarterback draft. There's 5 or 6 guys out there that are serious players. The only problem I have is that they're not going to get their due justice and where they should be. The whole world knows that Trevor is going to come with the Jaguars, and everything else is up in the air. You hear these rumors all the time, and the Jets do this and they do this. Now they traded supposed to be a franchise quarterback who's still very usable as a transfer quarterback, and they're gonna pick a quarterback second. I don't get it. But if there's that many quarterbacks in this draft they want to take advantage of, then they're going to do that.
Yeah, and seeing that the Jacksonville Jaguars, the question it's funny how many people asked me the question a few months ago in my coverage of Jacksonville, do you think they're going to draft Trevor Lawrence? And now the conversation has turned into, well, yeah, Dan, it's pretty much a done deal. Like, they're going to do it. Is there any talk down there that Jacksonville could shock us all and do anything else? With you being down in North Florida, what are you hearing? Is it Trevor Lawrence, Trevor Lawrence, Trevor Lawrence? Or is it Trevor Lawrence, maybe not, who knows, hold on to your seats, folks, type of thing? What's the feeling down there?
Well, things have really been quiet. I mean, you can get a splurge every once in a while, but they're just talking about the players that will be very valuable to an NFL team. From the Gator standpoint, Kadarius Toney is moved up in the first round. Kyle Pitts, we know, is going to be a first rounder, and also talked yesterday and this morning about Kyle Trask moving up to the first round. So my Gators are in good situation. No problem there. The problem we have with the Jaguars is just try to find someone after Trevor Lawrence. I mean, I'm sure that your main man, Urban Meyer's, he's up there, got his big old chalkboard up there, and he erasing things here and there. He hasn't figured out what to do yet. Terrible situation. It's nice because you got so many draft picks, but just think if you got 8 really good draft picks and you only hit on 4 of them, that's 50%. Well, that's not bad.
Yeah.
You got 4 players, you got players, then 4 players that you had to shove out. But I look for Jacksonville to be very active. I look for them to be active on the defensive end after they get Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, and it looks like, I mean, that's what they're going to do. So it looks like this is going to be, Trevor Lawrence in Jacksonville. And I'm excited about this because, to me, they need to have a move in the right direction, and it needs to be now. And this draft is going to put them in a place where, I mean, you put it to you like this. The Jacksonville Jaguars, if they had drafted correctly in the last decade or so, we wouldn't be where we are right now. But I wrote an article when they made it to the division, when they made it to the AFC Championship game against the Patriots, the game before the divisional round game against Pittsburgh. I wrote an article about how in a 6-year span, every single player they picked in 6 years was off the team. And that to me was an admission of they swung and they missed. How many times do you feel Jacksonville has swung and missed in the last decade? And is there any pick they've made lately that you're proud of and that you feel has a lot of value?
Oh, boy, I don't see that. I think, the draft is a hit and miss anyway. It's 50% hit, 50% miss. That's why you got so many free agents come in and take charge. I don't see Jacksonville doing anything really stupid here. I think they're going to be very cautious. I think after Lawrence, then it gets into the crux of what Urban Meyer wants to do. He starts taking smaller, faster players. He wants to play at a pace. You love that. I like that because he plays fast. He always used to play fast. But to play fast, you got to have lighter players. So sometimes that doesn't work out. I'm excited for him. I'm hoping that everything falls together for him, and we'll have a show next Thursday, and we'll talk about it some more.
And the thing that we have is the fact that, well, actually, this is the coolest thing. So you and I will have the opportunity to do something really special, as this draft is going to put us in a situation where you and I will be doing a Florida in Focus on video coming up here for that Thursday right before we head into, the Thursday of the draft. So we'll be able to talk on draft day about what we think is going to happen besides Jacksonville besides them going after Trevor Lawrence at number 1 overall. What do you think they need to do the most? And we're going to break this down and get more into it in the next couple weeks, especially on draft day. But what do you think the Jacksonville Jaguars need to focus on the most besides quarterback?
When you have that many draft picks and you had that many free agents, looks like things are coming together. But you know he wants defense. You know he wants to stop the run. He's got two really big bookends. They're gonna clog up the middle, and then no one's gonna be able to get any yards. But I like the way he's thinking. I think Urban is a very slippery guy. You just gotta watch it. I mean, everyone thinks we're gonna get Trevor Lawrence, which is probably true, but with him, you don't know because there's always a variable in there. The variable is Justin Smith, who played quarterback under Urban. If he seems to think his run-pass option plan will work with Justin Fields, he'll ditch him. He'll ditch Trevor Lawrence. I mean, that's a lot for me to say, but that's the way he is. I mean, if he thinks he can, he's got to teach someone how to play his position anyway. It might as well be someone who's already been taught the system. So I have some trepidation about that. I'm hoping that they stay with Lawrence because he's a much better player, and that the things have come around.
Yeah, and hopefully, this will all come together for Jacksonville as they step forward into this season. For you, PJ, to see, the Urban Meyer movement down there, what does it sound like down there currently? What are you hearing? What if anything, is in the newspaper down there?
Well, there's not a lot in the newspaper, which is good, because that means they can't write something nasty about Urban. They'll probably figure out something to say that it'll be stupid, and someone will pick it up. They'll take it around the wires, but no, everything's been very quiet. Look at this area. The area down here knows what needs to be done. There's no sugarcoating it. There's no nothing. They know that they have to win. So, there's not a lot being written. Let there be a lot to be written after they get their final 63-man roster. Then we'll see what they're talking about. Let's see if they keep some of the draft picks or they let go of some of their free agent picks. And it's a good situation to be in, but he's also, he's got to hit a home run here, Daniel. He's got to hit a home run.
He definitely does to start things off.
The baseball is in. His baseball is playing. The Masters just finished. Oh, my God. The NCAA basketball is over with. Talk about things to look forward to.
And that'll be coming up here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Perfect segue right after this fast break on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets life. And we are inside of the Cafe Kubal studios. PJ will be back with us to give his thoughts on the Masters this year. We talked about it going in. We're now talking about it coming out of it. And we'll also talk about Major League Baseball right after this, where sports truly meets that thing called life. This is Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, and I appreciate you being here with us from inside of the Cafe Kubal studios every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. You know that the sound here is different, the feel here is different, and we appreciate you joining us on the couch of a show that I truly thank God for every single day.
Carvel DeWitt, it's what happy tastes like. Do you know why? Because we make ice cream. Creamy, rich, flavorful ice cream. Not yogurt or iced milk like some of our competitors. Ice cream. Fresh, by hand, daily. For the calorie conscious, we have something new for you. Our new Carvelite. Same great flavor, creaminess, and texture of our regular ice cream with only 35 calories an ounce. So whether you want an ice cream cake, flying saucer, dasher, carvalanche, hard or soft ice cream, we will satisfy your craving with our fresh, handmade regular or new Carvelite ice cream. Carvel DeWitt. It's what happy tastes like.
Cafe Kubal offers same-day local delivery of our products, offering no delivery charge for Onondaga County. Shop cafekubal.com for fresh roasted coffee beans, cold brew, travel mugs, and all your essential Cafe Kubal needs. Cafe Kubal, coffee for the soul.
The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is located on 3680 Milton Avenue in the Home Depot Plaza. It is your family-friendly sports bar and restaurant. Folks, some sports bars aren't family-friendly. Some family-friendly restaurants are not sports bars. The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is proud to be both. It is that marriage that you've been looking for years. The Wildcat Sports Pub is your home base for your sports bar and restaurant needs, games for the kids, indoor and outdoor activities, and enough things on the menu to come back every single week and get to try something new. They're open Sundays from noon to 8 p.m., Monday through Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Thursday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to midnight. For reservations and party information, call 315-487-2222 for the Wildcat family-friendly sports pub and restaurant. Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on wakeupcalldt.com, your one-stop sports shop, and on mixlr.com/wakeupcalldt. Proud to be here with you as well on Facebook Live, on facebook.com/livenowdt, and on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. So however you're tuning in to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, we appreciate you on all of our live channels, and of course, we appreciate you on all of our wonderful, beautiful archives that worldwide allow us to reach out to people that in such an incredible way on the East Coast, the West Coast, the Midwest, all over the world. I cannot be more thankful for all of the avenues that I feel like God provides. Stitcher, Spotify, MixLR, TuneIn, iHeartRadio, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts. Of course, YouTube, as mentioned, Podbean. So many ways to find us. All you have to do is search Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. You can ask Alexa to play the latest episode of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. You can find us all throughout. If you go and type it into Google, you will find all of these avenues to connect with the show. And if you have, like many of us do, CarPlay, you can have any of these apps, the Spotify, the Stitcher, the TuneIn, iHeartRadio, iTunes, so on and so forth, and search Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora and listen to me in your car, wherever, whenever, however. And that, to me, is a beautiful thing, and I'm so thankful and grateful for it. So with that being said, PJ is here with us in hour number one, as he always is, on a Thursday, and Papa Joe and I have a lot to unpack here as we've started talking about football now. Time to jump into the Masters. So, PJ, what can you tell me? We talked about the Masters going into it, now coming out of it. What did you take away from it? You know, I had a conversation about this recently, and the word that somebody used with me was uneventful. What did you think about the Masters, and what was your overall analysis of it?
Yeah, people ought to go out there and try this if they think it's uneventful. It's a game that's very thought-provoking in every single swing. Listen, there are some fabulous players that just drove the ball well, putted well, hit irons well. No one better than Hideki Matsuyama, though. He's a rising star from the East Coast over there. He's been on the tour for something like 8 or 9 years. Started when he was a kid. Won the United States Nationals, amateurs. He's won, I think, 5 times on the tour. So this kid is he's a very slow and methodical player. Sometimes people get tired of watching grass grow when you're playing golf. Well, there's a lot of strategy with golf. He is a very thought-provoking kind of person. That's what he wants to do. He watches it. He sees every setup is the same, whether it's an iron player or a driver, and he doesn't vary. He's like a machine. A lot of good players did well. Jordan Spieth did a great job this year. Actually, I thought he had a chance to win it there. Maybe even get in the playoff, but he couldn't make enough birdies coming in. Always good to see Jordan Spieth. DJ didn't do too well this week. DJ got his ass handed to him, as did JT. Got his ass handed to him too. The only player that I had on my list that actually played well, Xander Schauffele, and he's a player that people just don't read about him and talk about him because he's quiet. He's very methodical, like the Jap, but he's American, and he's the heck out of the ball. I enjoy watching him, but Justin Rose played well for 3 days. I had him right there too. DeChambeau did not do very well, neither did Rory. So, now they go to the next stop. But what we learned in the Masters is that there's always someone's day when it comes to the Masters. It could be a one-time winner or a win it 5 times like maybe Spieth would do. But it's good to see some of these guys that have always had enormous potential finally tap their potential and win a major. That's all we judge people on, is what majors they win. Sure, Dustin Johnson's won 24 times in a row. 24 times. He got two majors.
Yeah.
Does that mean he's a bad player? Gee, hell no. Jeez, he's a hell of a player. So, these guys are all geared up to go chase the rest of the money through the rest of the summer. I'll be talking with the various tournaments I think are important. I don't think there's anything important coming up.
And you bring up a very interesting conversation, and you bring it up in the world of golf. You say, like, okay, he's done all this, but has only won 2 Masters, or maybe didn't win any, or didn't do this, and it's a big judgment. Julian Edelman just retired from the NFL at 34 years old. He's going to be 35 in May. Will be the same age. What do you think about him? Because people talk about criteria, and he was never voted to the Pro Bowl. And I feel like the Pro Bowl, it's a throwaway game. So I feel like it's an honor, but I feel like the honor's lost its luster, and I want it to get it back, or to change it up a little bit, do something with the game itself. But Julian Edelman has 3 Super Bowl rings. He was a Super Bowl MVP. He has a bunch of high-quality statistical categories locked up right behind Jerry Rice, including having the most postseason catches behind only Jerry Rice in the NFL, in the entire history of the NFL. So, is Julian Edelman a Hall of Famer, number one? And number two, does it need to be a prerequisite in order to be a Pro Bowl player and voted to the Pro Bowl? Does that matter, in your opinion?
No, it doesn't matter. Remember who Edelman played with for most of his career, and he's gonna get into the Hall of Fame just because he played for Tom Brady. I fully expect him maybe to go down and spend a year in Tampa Bay. Maybe this is another ploy to rile up the old lobster boat captain up there, but take Julian Edelman at his crux, then he's not going to be playing anymore. If he does, he's lied to us, and he's going to go down and play for Brady. So Julian Edelman is let's put it this way: if you're 3rd and 13 with 57 seconds left on your own 47-yard line, and you're 3rd and 13, who are you going to go to? And there's no doubt in my mind that he goes to Edelman the entire time. That's why Edelman is called a possession receiver. He's not a fast guy. He doesn't run a 4.3 40. He's a regular guy. If he goes to a spot, if the ball's there, fine. If not, he goes to another spot. Maybe he'll get it that time. Brady was sensational with the ball in his hand, and you couldn't tell if he was going to throw to one of his old buds or he's going to break someone new one. So I've always enjoyed Julian Edelman. He's a little bit of a flake, but I think he's an excellent player, and I think he justly deserves the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, and I agree. I do think that he deserves to be in the Hall of Fame as well. When your numbers are only behind Jerry Rice, to me, it's an open and shut case. This is not even something we need to discuss, in my opinion. So, I think that this should be a done deal and not even a question on anybody's mind. But I thought what you thought. I do think about this. Maybe the way for everybody to get to Brady that's on the Patriots is to, quote-unquote, retire and then just like, oh my gosh, I retired and I was away from the game for 3 days and I thought to myself, I got more left in the tank. Rob Gronkowski, we all knew he was coming back. And, I think at 34 years old, I sit here like, okay, Julian Edelman, I'm surprised he stayed in New England without Brady. Now he's retired. and I just get a sense that he'll be a Tampa Bay Buccaneer. So it's funny that you said that, because to me, people say, well, I was talking to Mike Sofka about it yesterday in the Fantasy Football Power Hour, and he said, well, Dan, he has a $2 million insurance policy. Like, if by doing what he did, he gets paid. But I don't think it's about the money. I don't think it's about any of that. I feel like it's Bill, I really love playing for you, and I know I got 9 years left on my contract, but I'm going to retire because I just, I want to spend more time relaxing and at the beach. And then, I wish you all the best. And they sign that paper, and then 3 weeks later, it's, I really thought about it, and I missed the NFL, and I'm going to go play with Tom Brady. So I don't know. I feel like this is kind of, in a way, around the rules for, like, Julian Edelman to show up as a Tampa Bay Buccaneer. So I think it's funny that you say the same thing, because I feel like it's one of those, oh, man, gee, my body, what am I going to do? And then all of a sudden he'll be playing in just a few weeks.
He'll be playing, that's right. Yeah, baseball's in, hey, my Major League Baseball channel, getting overworked down here. Brewski's got to work all day long.
And so you have the opportunity with the MLB Network, as many fans do around the world, to see it all. And yours is courtesy of MT. And so what is life like watching baseball? Do you literally sit there and watch baseball all day long? Do you take a break? Are you watching every game? Bring me into, like, a typical week in the house of Papa Joe when it comes to the fact that you can see every baseball game if you want to.
He gets me out of Mary's there. I can behave. With Bruce here, we got games on in the afternoon. Sometimes there's 3 or 4 games on, sometimes there's only 2. But it's fun to watch. And the last couple of days, we've caught the Brewers, so it's like old hope coming here. I'll watch and look and listen and have all sorts of goodies. Baseball right now is getting into their 3rd week. Really not a lot to talk about. The Dodgers are still the number 1 team. You got Trevor Bauer's finally pitching for them. He's got an ERA under 3. You can't beat the Dodgers. They've only lost 2 games in 12. So forget about that. You got the Padres. As I mentioned last week, the National League and the American League is going to run through the Western Division of the National League, and that is San Diego and in Los Angeles. Both of those teams could possibly make the World Series, and it'll be fun to watch. Got the Yankees are playing well, but not enough. Their pitching is falling apart. Corey Kluber, who was a Cy Young Award winner for Cleveland for a couple of years, he's not doing what he was supposed to be doing. The Yankees are only 5-7, but they have so much power. They could turn a 7-0 deficit into a 10-7 game winner in a heartbeat. Houston, fair record, still 500, playing 500 ball, but they have so much talent that you can't ever count them out. And it was something cute on the phone the other day, or I actually was on the phone because I thought come through the wires. Zach Greinke, when he was pitching, his last stop, he threw a 52-mile-an-hour curveball. Now, if you're a Major League Baseball player, you're up there ready, you're cocked and ready to go. Your left leg comes up, and you're waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting for a 52-mile-an-hour curveball, and you wind up spinning like a top because you can't wait. That's what Greinke does. He does some really weird stuff. The Twins are playing much better than I thought they would. Come out to a good start. The Atlanta Braves not doing what I thought they should. Their previous ranking is just about the same. I love the Braves. They've got too much talent not to win. The White Sox with their new manager, Tony La Russa, he thinks he can coach these new kids. So good luck with that. My Angels are 7-5. Otani's not playing. Trout is playing. Trout hitting something like 379 with 4 homers, 8 RBIs. He's going to be there pounding away. Anthony Rendon, I want to see him get going. And Ohtani is just he's a joy to watch. Whether this kid throws a 100-mile-an-hour fastball or he hits the fastball 475 feet out in the field, he's a hell of a player to watch. The Mets is my sleeping team. This is the team I want to focus on in the National League, other than the West Coast. I like what the Groom does. Marcus Stroman, Dan Walker, they're good. They're good pitchers. They're going to be someone to deal with all year long. They're not going to get here halfway and say, "Oh, I've lost 80 games. My season's over with," and they're throwing in the thing. They're not going to do that. Tampa Bay is 5-7. They're always competitive, no matter where you are. The Blue Jays 6-6 just swept the Yankees. Boston Red Sox are 9-3. Big surprise, really big surprise in this division is the Red Sox being 9-3. That's it in a nutshell, bud.
And I gotta ask you about my Diamondbacks. They're not doing well out of the gate. Hey, I know you said you got to see them a little bit. Any thoughts on them?
Let me see here. I'm trying to find the Arizona Diamondbacks.
They're 4-8 currently while we're talking.
Hey, they're number 25 in rankings.
Yay.
Oh, all right. For someone who has Madison Bumgarner, they need to do better than that. Bum pitched the other day and he sucked. So we'll be looking. Hey, you got a long way up, buddy. So hey, if the waiver wire is open, I think maybe you guys better check it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it puts you. I mean, the Diamondbacks, fastest team to the World Series and to win the World Series, did it in 4 years over the Yankees. Very proud of that. And very excited about that. It's actually my first team I ever got to see win a championship live. So in 2001, my Diamondbacks won. In 2003, Syracuse Orange men's basketball. In 2007, my Anaheim Ducks. In 2006, Italy in the World Cup. In 2010, Spain in the World Cup. And in 2019, my Toronto Raptors. So the funny thing about it, Papa Joe, is I only really have one team left that has never won a championship in history, and that's the Jacksonville Jaguars. So,
Oh my goodness. No.
will we see a Jacksonville championship in the next 10 years?
Oh boy, it's a real good question there, buddy. Well, frankly, it's how Urban plays the game. If Urban can play the game the way he wants to, he'll win. If he doesn't, he'll lose. That's the way he is.
Well, and he's going to have to figure it out, and I hope that he's ready to coach. I hope he's ready to get into it. You know, he's talked about different things that have taken him away from the game, but this is going to be a pressure cooker because this is a team that has wanted to win for 5 billion years, and they've only been around for like 30. So it's one of those things that, you know, we're hoping will happen sooner than later. And with that being stated, Papa Joe right here with us, having some fun this morning on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. PJ, we got a lot coming up, like I said, in the next 2 weeks with the NFL Draft. You and I will be talking off the air on what we're going to bring to the fans and how much fun that's going to be. And until then, I bid you adieu and hope you have a great time with your family from Wisconsin. But I have one final note, and that is that you and I have done this before, and I love doing it. Rapid fire. You get to ask me any 2 questions that come to your mind this morning. So before I let you go today, ask away 2 questions, and I have to answer them on live radio and video.
2 questions, huh?
Yep.
Who was Sandy Koufax?
He's a pitcher. I know Sandy Koufax. So, did you say who was Sandy Koufax?
That's all you're gonna say?
I'm gonna say. I mean, obviously, he's one of the pitchers in history here. He's one of the greats, and you know he's someone that's.
You're looking him up, aren't you?
I'm looking up what you want me to say here. I mean, I know that he's a pitcher. I know he played for the Dodgers. I know that he's a name that as soon as you say it, you know who he is. But I did want to see something that I'm looking up right now, which is that he threw a 100-mile-an-hour pitch. So that's what I wanted to see, how fast he was, and it's 100 miles per hour.
Yep.
So
that's back when 100 miles an hour was fast.
Yeah. So yes, I know who Mr. Sandy Koufax is. What is your second question?
All right. Okay, I got to find a good question here now. Who will be the MVP of Major League Baseball this year? The National League and in the American League.
Oh man. That's.
Guy, you better do it.
I know who I'm thinking on one side, but now I have to consult myself on the other side. So I think the Dodgers and the Yankees are going to make it to the World Series. So with that being said, and I stated that I think last week, if not the week before. So I will tell you that, in my opinion, the MVP of the American League is going to be Aaron Judge, and from the Yankees. And in the National League, the MVP is going to be who do I want to pick as the MVP in the National League? I'm going to say Mookie Betts.
Oh, that's a good selection. He'll be one of the top three for certain.
Who are you thinking? Who would you pick?
Well, in the American League, the American League goes to bed at night and wakes up every morning by Mike Trout. So Mike Trout is going to be my MVP forever until he breaks a leg and can't play anymore. National League, I'm looking at pitching again. I like Scherzer. I like Jacob deGrom. I like a few other good pitchers. But I'm looking for, I think deGrom will get his third Cy Young Award winner. The guy can't be hit, Daniel. He can't be hit. He's got some junk, and I'm telling you. And he's got junk, and then he's got 100-mile-an-hour junk. When you can, to show you, I said that about Zach Greinke because that's what he does. Imagine throwing a 52-mile-an-hour curveball and expecting a Major League Baseball player to wait and wait and wait and wait for that ball to come over the plate and then take a swing. So that's where I'm at. That's where I'm at.
All right. That coming from Papa Joe here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. PJ, as always, I appreciate your time. I look forward to seeing you soon. And in the meantime, enjoy Wisconsin in St. Augustine.
All right, bud. Thank you. Bye.
Take care. That coming from Papa Joe here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. I appreciate you being here, folks. We're going to take a step aside for a fast break. When we come back, I will be joined by Ifeatu Melifonwu for a video Q&A with a potential first-round draft pick in this year's NFL draft. You do not want to miss a second of this. If you think you know Ifeatu, you may learn something more today. So definitely, and if you know nothing about him, well, now's the time to get to know him because he may be playing for your team very, very soon. Ifeatu Melifonwu joining Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora right after this fast break.
Avicoli's Restaurant, located right at the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road, is proud to be your local neighbor, growing with you for over 20 years. We're open 7 days a week for lunch, dinner, and drinks. For takeout, delivery, or catering, call us at 315-622-5100. When you order online and use our promo code AVS10, you will save 10% on your online purchase at myavicolis.com. And make sure to join us monthly for our live on-site broadcasts centered around Liverpool athletics. Avicoli's, your local, trusted neighbor right at the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road.
Having peace of mind when you're out of town that your furry-loving friend is safe and sound means taking them to Canine Campground, because we all know that when it comes to the love of our pets, it goes well beyond the call of duty to make sure they're safe and sound. Right, Lily? So take a ride to 242 Johnson Street in East Syracuse, New York, and see Canine Campground and where your dog will be staying, in the classic cabin, the executive cabin, the grand cabin, or of course the luxury cabin, because if you know Lily, you know she loves luxury. Now you don't have to wait to the last minute to find a family member or a friend that'll take your dog for a few days. Call Canine Campground at 315-299-4013. That's 315-299-4013. Their drop-off and pickup times are Monday through Sunday. Check K9campground.com for more information. That's the letter K, the number 9, and campground spelled with a K.com. K9campground.com.
When you're going out of town, bring your dog to Canine Campground.
Cafe Cabal Mobile Cafe brings the cafe experience to you. We'll roll out to your neighborhood or office, ready to serve our locally crafted espresso bar to our loyal patrons. Inquire at cafecabal.com. Cafe Cabal, coffee for the soul.
Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory, located on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, is home to over 40 flavors with more than 200 flavors in their total wheelhouse. Sky's the limit for this sweet and savory Central New York company. Keep it local at your parties, fundraisers, wedding showers, baby showers, and more by calling 315-450-MA-PA. That's 315-450-6272 for popcorn bars with custom flavors and colors at your upcoming event. Make sure to visit them on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. And for more information, go to maandpassnacks.com. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. How corny are you? The Millhouse Market, located on 3790 New York 13 in Pulaski, New York, is worth the drive every time. Make sure you download their app on the Google Play or Apple App Store by searching Millhouse Market, and you'll have everything at your fingertips, from their homemade breads and salads to their quinoa bowls, desserts, rice bowls, brick oven pizzas, and sandwiches named after the families that helped to settle what is today's Pulaski. Ingrained in our community and ingrained in our taste buds, there is nothing truly like the Millhouse Market. Open Tuesday through Sunday. Tuesday through Saturday, you can go into their general store, dine in their bistro restaurant, or go through their drive-thru from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. And on Sundays, all of that available to you from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. When it comes to finding something special, something innovative, and when somebody comes into town and they say to you, I want to go somewhere I can't go anywhere else. I want to have something unique that makes me remember upstate New York. Take them out to the Millhouse Market. 3790 New York 13 in Pulaski, New York. Worth the drive every time. Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on wakeupcalldt.com, your one-stop sports shop, mixlr.com/wakeupcalldt, as well as on Facebook Live on facebook.com/live-now-dt, and YouTube Live on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. Very happy to have Ifeatu Melifonwu here with me. I can't believe that, Ifeatu, this has been, to me, it's a whirlwind. I can't imagine what it's like through your eyes, because I remember talking to you on the phone during your recruitment, being committed to Syracuse before National Signing Day, figuring out, where you wanted to go and what was going to go down, choosing Syracuse, and now, your career at Syracuse is already done. So, we got a lot to talk about, a lot to unpack with you, but welcome back to the show.
Yeah, thank you again for having me.
Yeah, man. So, do you remember that? I remember sitting in the car. I remember where I was. I remember exactly where I was in the car with you, and you committed to Syracuse. There was other teams coming in, late, trying to get your attention and whatnot. Do you remember going through that process?
Yeah, I remember a phone call. I don't remember where I was or anything, but I remember it. It was stressful at the time because I got Michigan 5 days before signing day, but obviously decided to stick with Cuse, and it was definitely a good decision.
And I remember you going through that, and we had talked about it like days before signing day, and you had said to me like, hey, this is a tough process, like, just kind of respect like myself, my family, and all of that, and I really was honored by the fact that you shared your time with me, shared the information and kind of the process with me, and trusted me with that. And I know I thanked you years ago, but I want to tell you thank you again for trusting me with that.
Yeah, no problem. No problem.
So you choose Syracuse on signing day. You come in to the Orange, and hindsight 2020. Tell me about the experience at Syracuse.
It was a good experience. Definitely a good experience. I feel like right away I didn't just I didn't come in and start right away. I feel like each year I improved and got better and better. After 2018, started 2019, I won a starting job. Started and then I just continued to improve regardless of what defensive coordinator we had or position coach, because I've had 3 position coaches and I've had 2 defensive coordinators, but I feel like that never really affected me too much. I just kept improving and was ready for the next thing.
For you, Ifeatu, to go through and have 2 defensive coordinators, 2 different guys running that, to go from Brian Ward to Tony White and to change defensive schemes and all that. Bring me into that experience for you and what you took away from that, because it wasn't just like 2 different faces of the same thing. It was 2 guys coming in with 2 different plans. So how did you kind of navigate through all that?
Well, when Coach White came in, he came in like right before COVID hit. So after COVID hit, we only had three spring practices, and then COVID hit, and then during the whole quarantine, we had Zooms, and we was learning the defense. So I feel like the transition was definitely easier because we had so many Zooms and so much time with the coaches before we really did it. I will say the schemes were different, but at the same time, it's like football's football. But they had their strengths of both and weaknesses to both, I would say. But no, at the end of the day, football is football, and they're both 2 good coordinators.
What were the strengths and weaknesses of Ward's defense, strengths and then the strengths and weaknesses of White's defense?
Maybe I don't know with the 4-3. It was like I don't even know if this is really a weakness, but it was just like there's a nickel and a Sam, and you would have to sub out. You would have to sub out the Sam for the nickel if you think it's going to be a passing down, and vice versa. I really don't even know if that's a weakness. And Coach White's defense, I really can't even say anything bad about that. I really like playing under Coach White, and I like the new defense, and it really allowed us to play a lot of DBs, and we had a lot of good guys back there. So I can't really say anything negative.
What made you like the defense so much under Tony White? Was it the emphasis on the back line where you were playing? I mean, was that the main reason why you liked it, or is there something else?
I liked it. I liked it because we played a lot of different things out of it. And he kind of instilled in us, even though there's more DBs out there, we can still stop the run. We can still be aggressive with all the DBs, and it just made me. Also, I really had to learn what the other DBs were doing, and the linebackers as well. So I kind of with that defense, I kind of basically knew what everyone was doing.
So for you to go through all that, like you said, you had to kind of you had to learn what everybody was doing. What can you tell me about having the corners, having the safeties, and having the rover? What did you like about that? How did that challenge all of the DBs?
What I liked about it was the disguise because pre-snap it's like three DBs back there. It's like three safeties. So I feel like it's really hard to tell what we're in. And I also liked it because, like I said, you really had to know what the other dudes were doing. A lot of the time we were, had to communicate with the safety. And we played like 2-on-1 on some players and stuff like that. So that's what I liked about it. And that's like what it really like involved all the DBs.
For you to play with guys like Trill, like Cisco, and there's a lot of guys that came up through the season. What can you tell me about the level of talent that you were playing alongside and how that affected you?
Yeah, so those two guys you mentioned, Trill and Cisco, tremendous talent, a lot of talent. I feel like that just brings out the best. We bring out the best in each other, and when one person makes a play, it hypes up the next person to make a play, and I feel like we all just push each other to get better. So no, it was definitely good, like playing with those two, especially since they play different positions. There would be times where it's all three of us on the same side. So no, I really loved playing with them too.
What can you tell me, specifically on Cisco as he joins you in this draft? What about him? Like, what do you think are his best assets to his game? Like, how would you describe him if an NFL coach said, what can you tell me about Cisco?
He's a playmaker. He didn't even play this season really, and he still leads the draft class and for safeties and interceptions. So he's definitely a playmaker. He could do a bunch of different things. He could be deep middle. Him playing Rover, he was actually in a box this year. Pit game, he was in a box. I mean, he could do a lot of different things. He's athletic. And he's definitely a hard worker as well.
For, off the field, what did you like about Cisco? What can you tell me about your relationship with him in that respect?
Yeah, Cisco and Trill, they're both my two of my closest friends. We talk probably every day, every other day. Feel like we share some of the same interests, and we go out together and everything. So I feel like it helped that it wasn't just a good relationship on the field, but it was off the field as well. I feel like that probably helps our play on the field.
So for you, speaking here with Ifeatu Melifonwu from Syracuse, heading off to the NFL draft for 2021, how would you describe, like what you said, off the field and whatnot, Trill and Cisco and you are all close and you guys do stuff together, have common interests. How would you describe Trill to an NFL coach?
Trill, I would say the same thing. I would say definitely a playmaker. He's made some crazy plays at Syracuse. Been Sports Center top 10 multiple times. And he provides versatility as well. He's played nickel, he's played corner. In this new system, sometimes he had to be deep middle. Sometimes he was, safety and too high. So he's definitely a versatile player as well.
When you look back on some of those plays, and I asked Trill what his favorite play was, and I brought up two that stuck out to me, and he was like, those weren't even the ones. Like his favorite was his first, score, his first interception, and taking that back. So what can you tell me? I mean, when you go back and you look at Trill a couple of years ago, not going for the tackle, but going for the strip, and I remember being right in front of the press box, and I see him come to like the Syracuse side of the field, and he goes after the offensive player after he catches the ball, goes after the wide receiver, hits him, and then you don't see him wrap him around. You just see him kind of scoop and pull, and then all of a sudden he takes off with the football down the sideline. That play, and when I think it was Jihad Carter where he said pitch it back, and he went with that. Like, bring me into those plays, like living in those plays and seeing them evolve. Like, what's the crazier play to you? Him ripping that, like kind of spinning the guy around and ripping the ball out of his hand and taking it for a touchdown, or the pitch back?
What's a crazier play? I feel like they're both crazy. I feel like the Wake Forest was a crazier play just because of the situation. Just because the situation we were in, it was overtime. Yeah, it was overtime, and I feel like if he just made that tackle, they would have been on like the 3-yard line or something. Probably would have scored, potentially scored. So I feel like that was a crazier game because it was a crazier moment because it was like a walk off.
So, like, I mean, seeing those, do you have a Cisco moment? Do you have one that sticks out to you that you just thought was very memorable from him?
I mean, he's had so many picks that it's like, I feel like a memorable one for me was 2019 when I got my first start at Liberty. He had, what did he have? Seven picks his freshman year. A lot of dudes didn't think he could do it again, and it was just luck, like freshman luck, right place, right time. Then boom, first game of 2019, he gets another one. So I feel like that was definitely a good moment because he kind of showed right there it wasn't he can do this consistently. It wasn't just luck. It wasn't just a one-time thing. Like he's a consistent playmaker.
So Ifeatu, what about you? I mean, you look to their plays. What's the play that plays that was memorable to you, that stuck out to you? I mean, when they threw your way, because sometimes they didn't. You know what I mean? And we'll talk about that in a second, but do you have a favorite play that was your play? I mean, a certain thing that sticks out, a couple of them. What can you say about that?
Yeah, so this year there was a couple of games where I didn't get any targets, but I feel like one of those plays, I'll have to go back to 2018 versus UNC when I came in because I wasn't starting. Chris Frederick got injured. This is going to be my first game like really playing. I played in a couple other games, but it was really just fourth quarter. Chris Frederick got injured. I played literally the first game, the whole game from the first quarter on. Ended up with 4 PBUs, and most of the time I was going against their best receiver, Radcliffe, number 17. So just consistently making plays on hitches, on stop routes. They even tried to double move me. I was on that. Overtime with the running back screen. So blew that up for TFL. So that was like my first real action, and I played it extremely well. So that's probably my moment, I think of.
When someone doesn't throw in your direction, from maybe my standpoint, I could sit back and go, wow, like he's shutting it down. They're not even testing him, or there's nothing there. They don't even see anything because he's locking it down. How do you see it in that respect? I mean, you do your job and the ball doesn't come your way, then obviously that's a good thing. But do you like that, or do you get frustrated? Do you want them to challenge you, so to speak?
Yeah, I think it's more of want them to challenge me. Not that I get frustrated, but it's almost like, and I feel like most DBs feel the same way. Like when you don't get targeted, you almost feel like you're going through the game and you're not even doing anything. Like you almost feel like, not that you're having a bad game, but like pushing me to get in the film. I've always watched film, but I feel like before I was watching film, but not really like studying film. I was watching it and I was writing some stuff down, but I was really just watching the flow of stuff. But this year I was actually like, each day I would watch something else. I would piece it together day by day and really study it. And it wasn't so much me watching myself. It was really me watching the opponent because, with the coaches, you watch yourself, you watch your practice the day before. I would watch my one-on-ones separately, obviously, but it was mostly watching the other team and piecing something together each day. And by the end of the week, it would all come together before the game.
What quarterback do you think challenged you the most?
Like threw at me the most?
Yeah, like threw at you the most, like really just made you work the most.
Like UNC, I had a lot of targets. UNC definitely, and I think I want to say Notre Dame. I only had like 3, 4. I would say UNC. I probably got targeted the most in UNC.
And for you, I mean, to go out there and to do what you did, like you said, sometimes, when you do everything right, it feels like you're doing nothing. Is it hard to stay in the groove when, if they're not coming your way and you are doing all that you're supposed to do, so you're not getting challenged, so to speak, because you are locking it down? Is it hard to stay with it? Is it hard to stay like energy high because you're doing exactly what you're supposed to do, but at the same time, it almost feels like you're in the game, but you're not in the game?
Nah, I wouldn't say it's hard to stay in because it's like when that happens, I'm feeling like I'm doing nothing, but I'm like I have to stay on top because I never know when the ball's coming. Like I forget who used to tell me, at every play you got to act like the ball's being thrown to you. So it was never hard to stay locked in or keep my energy up because you never know when the ball is going to come to you.
So, Ifeatu, what can you tell me about like coaches in the past, before Syracuse and whatnot? Who would you attribute to helping you be successful, giving you good information, helping you work on your craft? Like, what coaches do you think really helped to establish getting the best out of you?
So in high school, I had Coach McMahon. That was my head coach. Yeah, I mean, he always believed in me, and I wouldn't say he was a linebacker. He was a linebacker coach, so I wouldn't say he taught me so much technique wise, but all the coaches there were good coaches. Ben Q was the offensive coordinator, and I think quarterbacks coach as well. They were all good coaches, but in terms of like technique, I feel like in high school I really didn't have technique like that. It was mostly me playing with athleticism. So technique really wasn't. I didn't really get better with technique until I got to Syracuse.
Who would you attribute? I mean, having 2 defensive coordinators and 3 position coaches while you were at Syracuse, and obviously you redshirted, so you had 3 seasons that you were there. I mean, basically the entire time you were at Syracuse, something was changing. So who helped you with technique? Who do you think maybe got the best out of you at Syracuse?
All the coaches, all 3 of my position coaches definitely helped me with technique. But I feel like mostly Coach McLeod and Coach West. Coach McLeod is when I really got technique, really started learning like real technique. So that's 2018. Especially with press, and then Coach West in 2020 was really got my technique good and off man. So with those 2 coaches definitely helped my technique the most, and honestly just the players there, like the older dudes, Chris Frederick and Carl Jones, who would always do stuff with each other after on the field, and I would always go to the field with Trill and Cisco and just constantly getting better, our technique better.
So, I mean, you go to Syracuse, you more often than not were not on the winning side of things. Did that make you regret anything? Did it make you regret the decision? Did it frustrate you? I mean, you were on teams where the locker room probably felt good, and you were on teams where it was tumultuous at times. So how did you deal with it, and do you have any regret?
No, I wouldn't say I have any regret. Obviously, like losing isn't fun, but I don't think I had any regret. And I don't know. I feel like I was pretty like optimistic my whole time at Syracuse because the first year I redshirted and we went. I think we went 4-8, but then the next year when I was actually started playing, we went 10-3. So like. Kind of knew like what we could do and what we were capable of, or I did. So I was never like, discouraged or anything like that, or pessimistic going into games, or because I knew like what we could actually do and being in 10-3 and winning the bowl game.
Going back to that team in 2018, that being your first season on the field, playing in 9 games when the team went 10-3. I was obviously with you guys all the way to Camping World Stadium at the, for the Camping World Bowl down in Orlando. For that team, the Dante Stricklands and the Kylan Whitners and the Ryan Guthries and the Eric Dungies and so on and so forth. Like, what can you tell me about the leadership of that team and what you took from the guys that had been around the block, not even necessarily at your position, but in general, like, what did you think about the makeup of that team and the leadership of that team?
Yeah, no, we definitely had good leaders, older guys, redshirt seniors. No, we definitely had good leaders on both sides of the ball as well. And what I took from them, you don't have to call someone out of his name or like be disrespectful and stuff like that to be a leader.
2019, 2020, was there leadership? If there was, where did it come from?
I still believe there was leadership. On the offensive side, I can't really speak too much on that because I'm not in those meetings and everything. But definitely, there's still definitely leadership like that from the old lineman, from Tommy as well. Defense, I feel like it came from Cisco, me, Trill, and back in the DB room, and just like those the D linemen we had, like Alton, Kendall, especially. I think there was definitely a lot of leaders on the defensive side.
Was there a central leader ever? Did you think that like there was ever a guy that everyone could get around in the locker room the last couple of years?
Yeah, I don't know about a central guy. Maybe a couple guys. Kendall was definitely a leader. Kendall, Service. I'm trying to think back to 2019. Who was on the team 2019. Those two stick out to me as leaders.
And then, I mean, for you, like you said, you felt like there was leadership that came from you. How did you become a leader? Have you always been a leader? If an NFL team was sitting with you right now, what would you say to them? Did you evolve as a leader? Were you leader by example? Were you leader by voice? Were you always both? Were you neither? How have you evolved as a leader?
I feel like I've evolved as a leader. I would say I was more of a lead by example, but especially when Cisco and Trill left, I definitely was brought more into a leadership role in the DB room. DBs, the corners and safeties meet separately, but I feel like I led both rooms pretty well. Like I said before, I'm not like a rah-rah guy. I'm not going to disrespect anyone, call anyone out their name, but I'm definitely going to, speak up to guys, talk to them. Like during practice, like, hey, make sure you push the post when or things like that. So that's the type of leader I am. So I think I'm like a positive leader.
Cisco decides to opt out of the rest of the season. Trill decides to opt out of the rest of the season. What did that do to you? I mean, how did that? Obviously, they had to deal with stuff. Trill said he had to have surgery. Obviously, Cisco, with what he went through. But how did you handle that? Because these guys are close to you on and off the field. Defensively, with the three of you out there, arguably Syracuse has one of its best DB units in a very long time. So did you feel like you were – I mean, obviously the young guys, there's a lot of good cats out there, but how did you handle it, and how did you feel when, Cisco and Trill opted out, and did they tell you before they announced it?
Yeah, they both told me that they were going to do it when they did it, or before they did it. I didn't really feel any type of way. I was I'm losing two of my close friends, so it kind of felt, it's not good to lose two of your closest friends off the team, and two of our best players on defense as well. But I respected their decisions and I understood it. It was their decisions to make. I didn't try to, force any of them to stay or come back or anything like that. But I feel like it didn't really like opting out and never really crossed my mind. Even when they did it, it never really crossed my mind.
And that's kind of where I was going to go is like, did you ever think about, even at the start of the 2020 season with a pandemic and with the concern of, potential heart issues and all that, did you ever think about it?
No, I never once thought about opting out.
So when Jarvion and Abdul, when they did it, it was kind of like, other guys told me it was quick, kind of like you're into practice, you're starting to practice it and boom, you're starting running back and backup running back both say, I'm out. How did the team respond to that, knowing that there was a lot to be expected from Adams and Howard going into the season?
So, like, when that happened, it happened before practice started. I think it was really a day or two before practice started. I feel like dudes were shocked. We had a meeting and everyone opted out was there just to ask kind of why. And when we definitely respected their decision.
Yeah.
So I feel like it was a shock at first, but then they explained why and, people were understanding.
For you to go through all of that, I know that there was 2 practices that didn't happen, right? Because that you guys as players wanted certain things to be handled. You wanted certain protocol to go through. I believe that in a way, like Syracuse kind of spearheaded making sure that things were done right and kind of, things that you wanted in the ACC and in general. Bring me through what that was like to, say, okay, you know what, we're respectfully not going to practice until these things happen. Bring me into that process.
Yeah, so the way it happened was dudes were, with the whole pandemic going on, dudes were kind of like, nervous about catching COVID and how we're going to play a full season when the whole country's basically shut down. And then they came out with a schedule before they came out with a protocol of how we were going to play and a testing regimen. So when that happened, that really concerned a lot of people and kind of angered a lot of people. So, that's why we decided we wouldn't practice until something's being done, because it really did, at the time it didn't make sense that they came out with the schedule before they came out with a way we're going to safely play.
So how quickly did it change, and what did you want? Like personally, what did you need to have happen in order to feel safe?
Me personally, I just wanted us to know we're going to be tested at least twice and kind of know that other teams as well, because it's not just about us being tested, but we kind of want to know what we had to know what the other teams were as well, because we're not just going to make sure we're the only ones that's safe playing the game and then potentially get it from another team. So it was really that we was being tested twice and other teams were being tested at least twice. We got tested 3 times, but
for you, and then 3 times a week, right? Going into
3 times a week, yeah.
So you were one of the few teams in the country, Syracuse was, that, outside of the home opener that started at 12:36 instead of at noon, 36 minutes in, you guys played all your games on time. You played all the games, even that game, on the day you were supposed to play them. So many people had changes and switches and whatnot. What did it mean to you that you actually got to play your schedule, and did you feel safe? Did you think that Syracuse handled it right looking back on it?
Yeah, I felt safe. We didn't have any positives the whole year. We had a false positive, and then before the Georgia Tech, and then they got a rapid test, and it was negative. So I felt safe, and I was actually happy that we got to play all of our games, because that's just more. It's fun. It's fun playing. I love playing. So it was just more games we got to play, and more games added to my resume, and more tape out there for the NFL and scouts.
No fans in the stands. What did that do for you?
I mean, no fans in the stands was actually good for away games, obviously. In the dome, it was kind of weird because, third down, you're used to it being like crazy loud and, the energy is up, especially in the new dome. It would have been nice because, they have a lot of different things like the lights now and they had new turf, and it was like a better experience in there. So it would have been a lot better if there was fans there. I feel like we would have, we would have had more energy as well. Like the whole atmosphere and environment would have been totally different.
Speaking here with Ifeatu Melifonwu on Wake Up Call inside the Cafe Cubal Studios, of course, Dan Tortora here. What was your kind of pregame regimen, Ifeatu? Is it, what did you do to kind of hype yourself up going into a game? And is it something you've always done, or is it something you did at Syracuse?
Like the day, I used to about the day of.
Yeah, kind of like the day of the game. Like, what did you do to kind of get yourself in that energy, in that like headspace?
So the day of, I don't really like to watch any. I don't really want to watch any of the film like on my own, like on my iPad. I don't really like watching too much the day of the game. But just really just obviously the normal stuff. Listening to music sometimes in the locker room while we're waiting. I watch NFL DB's highlight tape. But it's not the same DB every time. It's just any DB I want to watch. That's what kind of got me in the zone.
What music and what DBs did you watch?
Music, definitely like hip hop, like the latest hip hop that was out. It could have been a new like Lil Baby album or Drake or something like that. DBs, like I said, I watched a lot of them. I watched Jalen Ramsey, Jamal Adams, Kyle Fuller, just Marshawn Lattimore, a lot of different ones.
Do you have a favorite? Do you have like an all-time? Do you have a current favorite?
Nah, I don't think I have a current favorite or an all-time favorite. Honestly, like I said, I like to watch a lot of different ones on YouTube.
You talked to me about. You mentioned Lil Baby and Drake. If you had one Lil Baby song that you had to listen to the whole year, what would it be? And if you had one Drake song that you had to listen to before every game, what would it be?
Drake, maybe What's Next, that just came out. Like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I listened to that, but Lemon Pepper Freestyle holds its own too.
I just said What's Next is Lemon Pepper Freestyle is a little slower and everything.
Yeah, more mellow.
Yeah, Lil Baby. I don't know. Maybe a song with Lil Baby and Gunna on it. Maybe I like I Am. The song's called I Am by both of them.
All right, and so for you on the field, so that's like your pregame and whatnot. When you're on the field, are you trash talking? Did you like to do that? Did you like to try and get in guys' heads, or were you quiet?
Nah, honestly, I was quiet for the most part, unless a dude said something to me. But I would never just start it off, trash talking. If a dude said something to me and then I made a play, I would say something. But for the most part, I was honestly just quiet.
You play teams like Notre Dame that go to the college football playoff. You play teams like Clemson that go to the college football playoff. I know you said that North Carolina kind of threw to you the most, but what team do you feel like going up against just really kind of made you feel like it was a true spotlight, like a college football spotlight? Did you think it was Clemson? Did you think it was Notre Dame? Somebody else?
I thought it was Clemson. It was definitely Clemson this year, and I played well too, so that was good.
What was it about Clemson? Because you guys played that game on the road. You hung with them for a while. I think at one point it was like a 4-point game or something like that. So what can you say? And the DBs played well. So Clemson, at the end of the season, their record might be 1 loss, no losses. But you guys hung with them, and you hung with them in a game where I don't think anybody really gave you any credit. So what can you tell me about that?
Yeah, no, it was we definitely hung with them. I feel like there's extra motive, there's added motivation when you play a team like that, and we just came out fast, and like it was, I think it was like 26-21 at one point, and we were in the game, so that just gave us more energy. And playing a team like that is kind of like a measuring stick to see where you're at, and those are the top dudes in the country. So you definitely want to beat the top dudes in the country, because it kind of brings you into that spotlight as well.
And I think that was the game where Trevor Lawrence threw his first ever career pick six in college, and Garrett Williams was the one that got it, right?
Yeah.
So to look at the future of Syracuse, Ifeatu, when I say these names, when I say Rob Hanna, Jahad Carter, Garrett Williams and company, what is, Armon Greenwood and whatnot, what does it make you think of when you hear those names and those guys like Hanna and Carter and Williams that had to step up? I mean, Carter and Hanna, true sophomores, Greenwood, a redshirt sophomore, Garrett Williams, a redshirt sophomore. What did those guys do, as freshmen, as they step in to the, sophomore side of their career? These guys were coming in as redshirt freshmen and true freshmen, making an impact. What does the future of Syracuse's back line look like to you?
Yeah, I think the back line of Syracuse is in good hands for the next couple of years. I feel like I wouldn't be surprised if in a couple of years there's the same situation like we're in now, 3 of us in the draft. So I wouldn't be surprised in a couple of years if there's a couple guys entering the draft. But no, the Syracuse secondary was in good hands. They're all good players, and they all stepped up when they had to step up. Garrett was great all season. Smart from my Greenwood stepped up when Trill went out, and Rob Hanna, stepped up like with late notice when Cisco went out, and he had 2 picks in that game. One got called back, and Jahad played really, really well. He started after the second game he started the whole season, and he really turned up the last like 3 games. He went crazy. So yeah, they're all going to be good players in the future. All good players right now.
Did you know before the season, during the season, that this was your last season? Did you know that, or did you figure that out or make that decision after?
No, I didn't know it. My mindset going in was just, I'm going to play like it's my last season, and then at the end of the season, I'm going to see what's up, see what the situation is. But I never had it set in my mind like, okay, I'm leaving after this season. This is my last season, no matter what.
Did 1 in 10? I mean, going 1-10, the defense just did so much this year. Was it truly bittersweet to see all the interceptions, see everything you guys were doing, see like how effective the defensive line was, the linebackers were, Michael Jones, everything he was doing, and Marlo Wax stepping in, and a bunch of different guys, and then the DBs, like, how did you handle 1 in 10 when the defense was doing so much?
I feel like we all me specifically, but I feel like we all never really lost faith, because like I said before, we've gone 10-3, and a lot of the games we lost, we are in the game. So I feel like there was never really lost, hope that we could win. So it was never really that 1 in 10. I feel like doesn't reflect our team at all. So I really don't even look at that 1 in 10.
So you're going into the NFL draft for 2021. What should the NFL know about you when these 32 teams are sitting here trying to figure out who their next DB is going to be? Why do they call your cell phone?
Because I feel like I have a rare combination of size and speed. And I definitely displayed that on my pro day. A lot I know a lot of teams and scouts were thinking I was going to run in the high, like 5.5s, like, 4.5s, like 4.55 and things like that. So I definitely surprised them running in the 4.4s. I do a lot of things. I have size and I'm physical, so I'm a willing tackler, but I've also made tons of plays on the ball, and I'm very good at coverage. I've had 2 different defensive coordinators, so I played in 2 different schemes. So I feel like I'm really like an all-around player, and that's what I feel like all the teams should know.
You get almost all the teams at Pro Day. You had all the teams at the Senior Bowl. Bring me into that. Did they remember you from the Senior Bowl? Did they did you see anybody that you saw repping the teams at the Senior Bowl that came to Syracuse for Pro Day? Because you had a unique experience of getting them twice, where, a lot of guys at Syracuse got to see them once at Pro Day. So was there any crossover of guys that you remembered from the Senior Bowl? And what was it like for you to experience the NFL, seeing Ifeatu Melifonwu on 2 occasions this, last couple months?
Yeah, so there was a couple dudes I remember. Just remember their faces from the Senior Bowl. I interviewed with all 32 teams at the Senior Bowl. There was definitely some familiar faces, and I feel like I just have an advantage playing in the Senior Bowl, and then them coming to see me because they, like you said, they see me twice, and they see me play in person, which is big. They've seen me play in person, and now they've seen me run and jump and seen how athletic I am in person. So it's just kind of it's like an added bonus going to the Senior Bowl as well.
Is it normal or is it atypical that all 32 teams would talk to you at the Senior Bowl?
It's normal it's normal for this year because the way we did it, everyone talked to all 32. It was Monday, I talked to 16, 15 minutes each for 4 hours straight, and then Wednesday, the same thing. So everyone at the Senior Bowl talked to all 32 teams.
Did anybody stick out? Do you feel like any relationship was special?
If there's one that sticks out, it's probably just because it was my first one, and it was the 49ers. And also, my brother signed with them, so they was talking about him a little bit. But I feel like it's probably because it was my first one, and I didn't really know what to expect going in. My first ever interview with the NFL team, so I would probably remember that one the most. But they all went really well, honestly. I feel like I had a good connection with all of them, and there wasn't any that I think stuck out as, oh, that one wasn't good or anything like that.
Did seeing them again, did you feel like any team showed you more love this time around at Pro Day?
I wouldn't say that. Some of them I've had meetings with them before Pro Day, but I wasn't really much interaction with the scouts at Pro Day, so I don't think I could say that.
What did you take from Pro Day? Like how did Pro Day give you a better sense of the draft? How do you think Pro Day helped improve your stock, so to speak?
Yeah, like I was saying before, I feel like it definitely helped me. It definitely helped me improve my stock just because of especially the 40. Because like I said, a lot of teams expected me to run in the 4.5s, mid 4.5s. So I feel like just me running fast alone improved my stock.
That coming from Ifeatu Melifonwu, wake-up call inside of the Cafe Kubal Studios. Ifeatu, you have been answering questions for years. On my show, we do a thing called Rapid Fire. It flips the script and it lets you ask the questions. So I don't know if you'll ever get this opportunity again, so take advantage of it, where you don't have to sit at the podium, so to speak. You get to flip it and put me on it. So you can ask me any 4 questions. Can be sports, can be football, can be about life in general. But I'm going to hand you the mic and let you take over, and you can ask me anything you want. So what do you got for me?
So what team is your favorite NFL team?
Jacksonville Jaguars.
Okay. Who is your all-time favorite Syracuse player?
Donovan McNabb, for sure, growing up, and I met him. And then personal relationship, Floyd Little.
Did you play football growing up?
I never played organized. I played basketball from like 7 on, and I always played pickup football games. We would play in church parking lots in the snow, and like end zones had ice on it and stuff like that. So I was used to playing those types of games, but I did have a flag football league a couple years ago. We'd play in like torrential downpours, everything, and I got an appreciation and a respect for football, but I never had to put pads on. I always just played pickup games.
So you said you played basketball. Did you ever have a dream of going to the NBA?
I did as a kid. So my favorite team's always been the Raptors since '95, since they came out with the logo. Maybe even in '94 when they came out with the logo. But I was a Damon Stoudemire fan, huge fan of the Raptors. And Damon was 20, my number's 21. So I used to like draw pictures of it, sneakers and all that. And I actually can shoot. I got a natural shot. I never liked running. Now my cardio is like potentially, outside of being a little kid running around, probably my best cardio ever. And so I imagine what it would be like if I had ran like this back then, but I'm 5'8". So I got recruited D3. And I was proud of that. So I would say, yes, I had a dream of it, but you know, there's something about basketball I love so much, and I would love, you know, at any level to put a jersey on and play for something. Would be great.
Yeah, that was 4.
What'd you say?
I think that was 4 questions.
Yeah, that is 4. You did it. So from Ifeatu Melifonwu, you made it happen. Thank you for spending some expanded time with me today. I want to make sure that, you know, the fans get to know you, get to see you, and everything you've been through this year. I mean, Ifeatu, from everything you dealt with Corona to guys, you know, ending their seasons early to the adversity of losing and frustration and not having fans, you have been through so much, and you handled it like a professional. So all I can tell you is I hope that you will continue to come on the show and I can keep telling your story. But from when I first met you over the phone to all your time at Syracuse and now, I respect it. I really do value your time. And I hope that an NFL team makes a good decision for a very long time and does right by you.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
So that coming from Ifeatu Melifonwu, and I'll talk to you soon, man. And in the meantime, enjoy Tampa, right?
Yeah, of course. Thank you.
All right, take care, man. That coming here once again from Ifeatu Melifonwu, joining us here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. We'll take a final step aside and get you ready for TGIF right after this on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora from inside of the Cafe Kubal studios. In these unique times, there are those in our community that give us a sense of normalcy and positivity. Pizza Man on 50 Oswego Street in Baldwinsville has been here for you for over 35 years and is here now. Call 315-638-1234 or order online at pizzamanbville.com to bring those familiar tastes into your home. And remember to come see our monthly on-site broadcasts centered around the community and our Baldwinsville beats. Pizza Man in Baldwinsville. Any way you slice it, they are always here for you.
I'm George Townsend of Honda City with some good advice when buying a new car. The true cost of owning a new car is determined by the appraised value when you trade it. No vehicle appraises higher than a Honda. Next, look for low APRs and deep discounts. You also want low maintenance costs and great fuel economy. That's why my advice to you is to buy a new Honda. Looking pre-owned, visit our Honda Certified Used Car Center. Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard, Liverpool, or HondaCity-CNY.com.
It would be a pity if you don't shop at Honda City.
This is Jim Sikowski, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Cicero, 7916 Brewerton Road in Cicero, right in front of the Home Depot. I had a deep feeling that God wanted me to do something bigger with my life and to help people, help others. He kept putting Chick-fil-A in my life, and I realized as I was going through the franchise selection process that positively impacting the lives of others was really core to what we do here at Chick-fil-A. First of all, it starts with the food. The food is brought in fresh daily. We bring in local produce. We prepare to order in the kitchen. We hand bread our chicken. We hand spin our milkshakes. It's great food. It doesn't taste like fast food. I think the second thing is the way people feel when they come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. It's different. We try to treat people with intentional kindness here, which is very different and deeper than good customer service. And so I think it feels remarkable for most people to come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. And then lastly, the impact that we try to have in the community is very different. It's a big part of the expectation of every operator of a Chick-fil-A restaurant is that they're actively engaged in their community, they're a leader in the community, and they're making a difference. When they realize that what we're striving to do is to shine a little light in their life, that's a very, very different experience than you will have in any other quick service restaurant. And it's that remarkable experience that I think people will emotionally connect with.
Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on wakeupcalldt.com, your one-stop sports shop, and on mixlr.com/wakeupcalldt. From inside of the Cafe Kubal studios, you're watching on Facebook Live, on facebook.com/live-now-dt, and on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. So, with all that being said, I want to thank you for tuning into today's broadcast. You have been an absolute pleasure to have as all of these beautiful people inside of Central and Upstate New York, the East Coast, the West Coast, the Midwest, and around the world. I thank you for being a part of what I do here inside of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. So, want to thank Papa Joe for being a part of the show. Huge thanks to Ifeatu Melifonwu. This video will be available with Ifeatu. The video Q&A will be available separately, and you'll be able to watch that on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt later today, as well as on facebook.com/wakeupcalldt. So, with all that being said, TGIF coming up for you inside of MonPazPopcorn.com's What's Poppin'. This Friday, April 16th, we will be having, as always, the Annoying Moment of the Week, brought to you by Carvel DeWitt, to start off the show at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. Then we'll hop into Lead, Learn, Evolve, Adlib, and Deliver with my co-host Juanita Ward at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time, presented by Chick-fil-A Cicero. The top dog of the week will be announced at 10 a.m. Eastern Time, brought to you by Canine Camp Dog Daycare and Canine Campground Dog Boarding of East Syracuse. And we will finish this week at 10:15 a.m. Eastern Time with Miss Kenzie Smith, who I covered when she made it all the way with her sister and her team at West Jenny. The Wildcats made it all the way to the championship game a few years ago for the state. And I had the absolute pleasure and honor of covering her and her sister during their time at West Genesee. She went into the transfer portal and now has 4 years to play at St. Bonaventure, and she will be joining us on Wake Up Call on the heels of making her decision. She'll tell her story, she'll talk about her journey, West Genesee, and so much more. You do not want to miss Kenzie Smith talking about her trip from West Jenny through Old Dominion that found her way to St. Bonaventure. That's all coming up this Friday on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. And in the meantime, find us on Facebook at Wake Up Call DT, Twitter at Call DT, and Instagram at Wake Up Call_DT. And as always, folks, God bless, no stress, do your best. I'll talk with you soon. Be good.